Welcome, welcome, welcome. You are listening to Bras, Panties, and Sports. I'm Spitface. Please welcome our host, the First Lady of Sports Talk, Cheryl Smith. How you doing this morning?
Oh, I'm doing really well. Welcome, everybody. Looking forward to a great show.
All right. And, the heat is on across the country, and I'm not talking about the basketball team. We was at 99 here in H-Town, and I heard that all over they was getting that it was rising. So, but this week on Shout Out, we have music from Katie Belle. Will she find a shining star or get the cold feel of the mute button? First Lady, we're ready. What you saying?
Each week we try to figure out what is going on in the sports world, not the plays of the week, more like the players of the week. Are they trying to tell us something? So we ask, what you saying? Fly, little birdie, fly. Time keeps on slipping into the future. Time keeps on slipping into the future. So I want to fly like an eagle to the sea. Fly like an eagle, let the spirit carry me. I want to fly right into the future. The little birdies known as the Boston Celtics wish they could fly far, far away from getting thumped by the Miami Heat in Game 7. That would have put them in the finals. The Celtics won a crucial Game 6 to force the series back to Beantown. Was that game a foreboding of what laid ahead? Was the series more about the coaches than usual? The Heat lost Game 1 to the Nuggets by double digits. Are the Nuggets simply too big for the Heat? Would the Celtics have been a better matchup? Is the Miami Heat franchise the smartest franchise in the NBA from top through the management, coaches, players, as well as the maintenance people? Jimmy Butler won the series MVP. Should it have gone to another player? Marvelous Marvin Hagler, Bernard Hopkins, Roy Jones Jr., and the Steve Miller Band are asking, what you saying? Well, Spitface, what can I say? I mean, was it a foreboding of what laid ahead for the Celtics? I guess it was, because we know it was the Celtics were lucky to win Game 6. And when it came to Game 7, I mean, Miami Heat just blew out the Celtics. And, unfortunately, Jason Tatum did get hurt on the first possession of the game. And, unfortunately, that didn't help the Celtics. I mean, I would say that was probably the main reason the Celtics failed, and because they didn't have Jason Tatum. They didn't have Jason Tatum. So, they usually run their plays through him. And the others really could not step up, especially Jaylen Brown. He showed that he is not a 1A. Heck, the game he showed that he's a number 2. I think Jaylen Brown had the worst game in the playoffs. He had 8 turnovers. You hear what I said? 8 turnovers. He couldn't lead the Celtics to victory. Now, Derek White was probably the only Celtics that played well. And I just don't understand, again, the philosophy of the Boston Celtics to continue to jack up well-contested threes. They made no attempt to drive to the basket. And the problem also was their defense. Their defense was not great at all. I mean, to be honest with you, the Heat had a lot of wide-open shots, and they were making their shots. Now, the Celtics really made a few – actually, they only made one attempt to try to get back into this game, and they really couldn't get back into it. And because every time they tried to get back into it was Caleb Martin that made a big shot, and that's the reason why the Celtics really never made any serious attempt again to get back into the game. I mean, fourth quarter, the Heat, if I'm not mistaken, went on to an 8-0 run in the beginning of the fourth quarter. So the Celtics were just knocked out completely. And, they're just a bad showing by the Celtics. I mean, when you win a game like you did in Game 6, you were saying that you were glad that you were coming back to Boston. I felt so bad for that Boston crowd and the fans of Boston because their team did not show up in Game 7. And I don't know if they were scared of the moment. I would have to say they were scared of the moment. Again, Jason Tatum had that problem with the ankle. But there's been a lot of problems with ankles during these playoffs, and a lot of the players had to play through it. But other teams have players that can step up. And the Celtics just does not have one player that could step up for Jason Tatum. As far as I'm concerned, they let him down. Now, was the series more about coaches than usual? I would say it was about coaches. Erik Spoelstra obviously ran circles around Joe Mazzulla. For me, the issue with Mazzulla is that he never set up plays for the Celtics or told them to drive to the basket. I mean, when you're not hitting your threes, sometimes you just got to let the ball go into the basket and drive to the hoop. The Celtics never did that. They are not a very disciplined team, whereas Spoelstra is always in control of how his team operates. He dictates what defenses and offenses they play. I just don't think the Celtics are a well-coached team. They win because of their talent. Now, if they were more disciplined, this team could win a championship because they have all the talent in the world. I mean, they have a deep team. But because they are so undisciplined and they just, they're a dumb team. And I said it last time, and I'm going to continue to say this team lacks basketball IQ. Everybody watched this series and knows that the Celtics put too many bad three-point shots up. And when Coach Mazzulla was asked at the postseason press conference, did the Celtics lose their defensive identity? You know what he replied? He said, we shot 21% from three. Defense was still there. I don't know what game he was looking at because that defense was not there at all. They had, the Heat had so many wide open shots. And then he was asked, after he made that statement, he was asked, is the team too reliant upon threes? And he said no. And it was without any further explanation. He didn't hesitate or give any other consideration. I mean, to me, his response to me is the issue, and that's why I believe that this team, with him continuing to be the coach, and it's already been determined he will be the coach. I believe he believes in living and dying by the 3-point shot. That's what he believes, and that's just what it's going to be. They're going to live and die by that 3-point shot. Now, obviously, the Heat lost Game 1 to the Nuggets by double digits. The question is the Nuggets simply too big for the Heat? It was quite obvious that the Nuggets' length was a problem for the Heat. I mean, you had Gabe Vincent defending Aaron Gordon on several plays, and the Nuggets took advantage of this mismatch. Coach Mike Malone believes in old-school basketball because that was one of the strategies back in the day. When you had mismatches, you take advantages of those mismatches. And that's what Mike Malone did. And I would say 98% of the teams in the NBA today, they fail to do this. This league now is about 3-point shooting. It's not about pick and rolls or a lot of putting your back to the basket and drawing the double team. It's about shooting threes and take advantage of mismatches. That's what you need to do. That's how you win games. And the Nuggets did that. They took advantage of their size against the Heat. And I was very surprised that Spoelstra did not use Kevin Love a little bit more in that game. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think Kevin Love played at all. And, so Coach Malone, he will continue to exploit these matchups until Spoelstra develops a counter plan to defend against their size. And it's not going to be easy. It really won't be easy. So everybody wondered, would the Celtics have been a better matchup? I always thought the Celtics would give the Nuggets a better matchup than the Miami Heat because the Celtics also have length. The difference is that the Nuggets are a much smarter team, and they know how to take advantage of their length, whereas the Celtics and their coach, they didn't know how to do that, okay? He didn't do that, and that was the reason why he lost the series against the Miami Heat. But I thought the Celtics would definitely have given them a better matchup. And, is the Miami Heat franchise the smartest franchise in the NBA? I'm not going to say yes. They are a very great franchise. You always talk about the Heat have their culture, and they pick players to fit their style of play. Pat Riley used to be the godfather of the NBA. You know, he had made some shrewd moves. He was, especially when he was able to get the big three. You remember they got LeBron, D. Wade, and Bosh in 2010. They signed the three top free agents. You know, even though D. Wade played for them, you know, he was definitely on a free agent tour, but the Godfather was able to sign all of them. However, you know, the last appearance in the finals was in 2014, so the Heat did go 6 years where they didn't even make a conference finals, and you know, and people were questioning if Pat Riley still had it and should he consider retire. You know, now he was able to pull off the Jimmy Butler signing trade when they didn't even have cap space in 2019. So that move obviously rejuvenated the franchise, and we already knew that Eric Spoelstra was one of the smartest and best coaches in the league. He knows how to get the best out of his players. So, you know, the Heat is one of the premier franchises in the NBA. I'm not going to say they're the smartest franchises, but they're one of the best franchises in the NBA. Now, should Jimmy Butler have won the series MVP, or should it have gone to another? I was surprised that Caleb Martin did not win that MVP, because the MVP is for conference finals only. He was the Heat best player. Jimmy Butler really didn't even have a great conference finals game, with the exception of the last game. He may have had maybe 2 games, and that's trying to really eke out 2 games. But Butler was not the best player in the finals conference. He was the Heat best player in the overall playoff. Yeah, so, you know, I really didn't think Jimmy Butler should have won that award. I really thought Caleb Martin was the Miami Heat MVP. And, you know, it to me was his trophy to win and not Jimmy Butler's. So anyway, Spitface, what you thinking about this situation?
Well, First Lady, something that you had mentioned about the Celtics, which might have, I'll say, Game 6 win was foreboding of what lay ahead, and that is that they don't winning at home is not their strong suit. And what did they do? They went back home, needed a game, and winning at home is not their strong suit. So I think that did kind of, guys, yeah, you know, y'all whooped Miami all up in Miami. Now you're going to get back home and get beat. And that's exactly what happened to them. And I can see a lot of folks looking at that Game 6 and saying, hey, look, the Celtics are back. They've come back from being down 3-0. It's hard to beat a good team 4 times in a row. It's just hard to do.
True.
And they call that a sweep. Sweeps are not like automatic, not in the NBA, not against 2 really good teams. You know, the Nuggets sweeping the Lakers, that was like amazing. But that's not, that's what we do in the NBA. No, because any team you play that much 3 times in a row is really like, whoa, you done gassed out. So the odds were actually against the Celtics winning that Game 7. Now, the Heat, that franchise, the players, the maintenance people have a high basketball IQ, and they seek players who make smart decisions. Now, that does not compensate for talent. And if we look at the Nuggets, we look at the Celtics, as far as talent goes, the edge has to go to either one of those teams. But smart coaching and dedication and commitment. And as Rudy Tom Jonovich said back in the day, when you got the heart of a champion, things can go your way. And the Miami losing to the Nuggets in that first game by double digits, well, there was some things that Miami could take away. Now it's going to be hard because they're playing against a bigger team. So you have to get some breaks. You have to play smarter. You have to get some steals. You have to do some things that go into their weaknesses. And if there's any team that can find a weakness to capitalize on, it's the Miami Heat. And First Lady, I hear you with Caleb, but it is some things are, as I said, the most valuable player. Somebody I'll say was like the fire under Caleb. So maybe Jimmy Butler gets that edge just because he brought it and someone else stepped up. So I go, that's a hard one. But I don't blame you for being mad at Reggie Miller with his little lying self. Oh, yeah, and then vote the other way. I mean, if it wasn't for the fact that, he's bigger than me, I'd probably slap him once. Lying self, But no, Reggie Miller is being an old Bulls fan, I love to hate Reggie Miller. I don't wish him no. I just love to hate him. And that's all I'm saying, First Lady.
Yeah, he's something else. Talk about how Caleb Martin was the MVP and he's going to vote for Jimmy Butler. I don't understand that. But anyway, all right, Spitface, over to you.
All right, don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years, rocking my peers and putting suckers in the air, making the tears rain down like a monsoon. Listen to the bass go boom. Explosion, overpowering over the competition. I'm towering. Record shop when I drop these lyrics that'll make you call the cops. Don't you dare stare, you better move. Don't ever compare me to the rest of the August sliced and diced. Competition paying the price. I'm gonna knock you out, huh? Mama said knock you out, huh? We are talking about the potential knockout punch to the freedom of ex-president and convicted sexual assaulter. They got tapes. The ex-president's team of lawyers is pointing fingers at each other and starting to resemble the Three Stooges, but not as smart. MAGA is starting to turn into make attorneys get attorneys. Judges have forced his attorneys to testify against their client, that being Trump. Why? Because of the what? Crime fraud exception. If you and your attorney are plotting crimes, it ain't confidential. Back to the tapes recorded at Bedminster. See these classified docs about plans to invade Iran? Oh, I can't show them to you. No, I have limits on my ability to declassify now that I'm not president. End quote. Is Trump's goose cooked? If his team of lawyers, insurrectionists, and cowardly Republican office holders were a football team, what would be their name? Leroy Satchel Paige, Walter Buck Leonard, and James Cool Papa Bell are asking what you saying. First Lady, sports and politics have always made for strange bedfellows, but so much of what happens in the world of politics, you can kind of look at the world of sports and see some similarities. But first, I really had to think about what I would name his football team. If there was a football team, what would be their name? And the name I came up with was the Weasels. I think that would be the Weasels. I think that would be the perfect name for that team. and because they're all weasels, I thought about the Traders, the Benedict Arnolds, those kind of names. But that weasel, them little beady eyes, oh yeah, that looked like a bunch of little beady eyed folks. So I'm going with the weasels, and many people are not, I'll say, are too young to remember Watergate. And the nail in the coffin with Watergate was the tapes. We got tapes. Tapes where you admit that you actually know what the real deal is, and then you go and do stuff trying to act like, well, I know, just trying to be Sergeant Schultz. And I know a lot of y'all going, who the hell is Sergeant Schultz? Television show called Hogan's Heroes. Go ask your great-grandpa about it. Grandma too, But, you going on, I know nothing. But you on tape saying that you understand how everything works. Now, when your lawyer has to turn over their notes and testify, your goose is not only cooked, it's about to be burnt, where you might have to take it out the oven. Because, boy, it do not look good. But one thing that I will say about the ex-president and convicted sexual assaulter, he may be lucky enough to miss Club Fed. So, they might actually do something like have him, like house arrest for the rest of his life. Now, house arrest at Mar-a-Lago may not be that bad, except for the, I heard it has a bad case of bed bugs. But other than that, hey. So, First Lady, I'm going with the weasels. What you saying?
Well, to be honest, I don't even want to talk about Donald Trump. I'm detoxing myself from any Trump news or having to speak about him. I just hope he pays for his crimes that he has committed and all the legal maneuvering that needs to be done to make this happen. But I'm okay with it, okay? Now, if you want me to come up with a name for his team, football team with name, it could be I don't care. No.
You go with the weasels?
The snitchers, I don't know what you could call it. I don't care. However, I'm not confident that Trump will go to jail or be found guilty because he is the Teflon Don. And that's all I'm saying, Spitface.
All right, First Lady, please take us to break.
Stay tuned. Coming up next, we'll have a performance from Katie Belle on Shout Out Part 1. Detoxing from Donald Trump.
Weasel. Well, the music flows in from around the globe to get a shout out from the panel. First Lady, I can't wait to hear the music from Katie Belle.
I was a little eager there, wasn't I? All right, on Shout Out, we feature new independent artists who are looking to find their shining star. If we like what we hear, we'll give the track a shout out. If we don't like it, we hit the mute. Today we are featuring Katie Belle from Marietta. That's Marietta, Georgia. They say Belle, a fan of mixed genre music, brings liveliness and energy to her original music. Unique raspy vocals and a low range serves as foundation for productions utilizing indie, pop, R&B, and EDM style. That's that electronic dance music for people who don't know. And Belle's lyrics complement her contemporary sound. All right, DJ, let's hear Know That I Know.
You know it's no surprise you let me down. The king of selling lies and stealing crowns. I'm to all the fake love. No text back, wonder if you're my love. I gotta know why your love's so cold. Deserve an Oscar for that show. You belong in a motion picture. Fall in love, but it's all for show. Carry on like a Hollywood actor. Carry on, carry on, carry on. Spin around in a world of madness. Make a scene like Tarantino. Carry on and never look back. Just carry on, carry on, carry on. So now I finally know. I finally know. Now that I know the story's over. Loving you only made me colder. Now that I know. Now that I know the story's over. Rolling out credits for some closure. Now that I know. I can't stand it anymore. Another one of your episodes. Thought you would play the hero. You were the villain, I know. You belong in a motion picture. Fall in love, but it's all for show. Carry on like a Hollywood actor. Carry on, carry on, carry on. So now I finally know. I finally know. Now that I know the story's over. Loving you only made me colder. Now that I know. Now that I know the story's over. Rolling out credits for some closure. Now that I know. You belong in a motion picture. Fall in love, but it's all for show. Carry on like a Hollywood actor. Carry on, carry on, carry on. Spin around in a world of madness. Make a scene like Tarantino. Carry on and never look back. Just carry on, carry on, carry on. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Now that I know. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Now that I know the story's over. Loving you only made me colder. Now that I know. Now that I know the story's over. Now that I know. Rolling out credits for some closure. Now that I know.
First lady.
Okay, all right. I'm sorry. No, I didn't hit the mute button. That was Katie Belle. I'm going to shout the song out. Yeah, she has a nice tone to her voice, and I can see where that indie pop and R&B style, and I do definitely hear the electronic dance music style too. So yeah, she does encompass all three type of genre into her music. So yes, I'm shouting it out. You shouting out Spitface, or you're hitting the mute button?
Well, now that I know, sure, I'm giving Katie Belle the shout out. And oftentimes, artists, I'll say they'll do too much in a song. And she struck a really nice balance. So she stayed in her lane, struck a balance. It was a good production. And girl sound like she can sing a little bit. So I'm shouting it out.
All right. Well, we're going to hear from another track from Katie Belle on Shout Out Part 2. But we're about to hear from our favorite underwater friend. Is that the sound of Flip It? It's time.
All right. It's time for Flip It. And First Lady, Flipper is in the best spot in the ocean, cooling off, because it is roasting here in Houston, Texas. So Flipper already in the water. I'm looking for a pool somewhere. And I know This is the early part. Well, some ain't even started yet. So,
yeah. Oh, wow.
So I better find some coconut oil or something. I don't know. All right, it's time for Flip It while host defend a point and then flip the script and defend the opposing view. DeAndre Hopkins, for the first time in his career, is a free agent, and any team can sign him. We wonder, hypothetically, if he had the choice and it was between the Texans or the Browns, where should he go? Defend. The Texans are rehabbing and taking the right actions. Hopkins will be treated with a lot of respect and make them a contender. First Lady, Andre Hopkins is more beloved in Houston, Texas than the bearded one. Definitely. People still got Andre Hopkins jerseys. That's how much they love them some Andre Hopkins. Now, DeAndre Hopkins, that's how much they love him. And he got the stats to back it up. This is a future Hall of Famer who has plenty gas left in that tank. And it's like, please come home to Houston. And we got rid of all those old crazy coaches and management that didn't know how to treat you right. See, come on in, help this young quarterback emerge as a star like you did for Deshaun Watson, only better because this time we know how to appreciate you. Pop. See, we know that we got to have at least a DeAndre Hopkins donut day once a week at 7-Eleven. No, so we got to make sure that you get your props this time around. And the Texans got some money. They can pay you. Come on home. Sweet home, Houston, Texas. First Lady, defend.
Well, you're right about that. They sure didn't treat DeAndre Hopkins that well, especially Bill O'Brien. But he's gone. He's with the Patriots right now, so we know he's not going to the Patriots. But, the thing is, yeah, they didn't treat him well. So, you got D'Amico Ryans there as the head coach. And Texan is in the rebuilding stage. But, I have a feeling that with D'Amico Ryans as the head coach, there's going to be better defense. Their defense will get significantly better. But the issue now is the offense, and they are lacking explosive wide receivers. And we got C.J. Stroud who can really zip the ball. So currently the Texans' top receivers are Nico Collins, John Mechie, and Robert Woods. They're not no household names. And basically in the current Pro Football Focus NFL rankings of top receivers in the league, the Texans do not have anybody ranked in the top 32. Guess who's ranked number 12? DeAndre Hopkins is ranked number 12. And when it came to receptions, do you know that the current Texans wide receiver Peoples-Jones caught 61 passes, which made he was ranked number 15? Number 50, number 50, 5-0. So they need DeAndre Hopkins. They really need him to give a tremendous boost to the Texans. And to be honest with you, they need some offense, obviously. So, yeah, they'll definitely treat him much better than he's been treated before. But the thing is, they really, really can use DeAndre Hopkins' offense. The Texans are going to be almost darn near last in offense if they don't get him. So they might need to get him and be very competitive. And who knows? They could be possible contender.
Hey, it's all up for grabs in the AFC South. We don't know what's going to happen. But this is Flip It, where we flip the script and defend. He had big numbers with Deshaun and would be his favorite target. It's just like that, and now the Texans are rebuilding. And another word for rebuilding usually means losing. and you lose for a while when you're building. The Texans would love to have Dre back. They love it, love it, love it, love it. But if he wants to be on a team that's going to have a legitimate shot to be in the playoffs, a legitimate shot to contend, is hooking up with someone that he knows how to play with, Deshaun Watson. So Andre should become a Brown. Yeah, he should hurry up, get that little brownie outfit on. And him and Deshaun start working on out to recreate that magic and get that, because Dre is going to get his numbers. And all that Cleveland offense needs is for a big wide receiver who can, grab anything thrown at him to open up that running game, which is there, and totally open up their passing game with a quarterback who can, let's just call him the Magic Man. First Lady, defend.
Well, I mean, supposedly the Texans already kind of like put out notices out there that they are not interested in re-signing Hopkins as they should. They shouldn't be interested in re-signing him because, the Texans are starting a new era with DeMeco Ryans as their head coach, and signing Hopkins would bring back memories of Deshaun Watson and Bill O'Brien, and they don't want that, and they don't need that. It's time for the Texans to move forward, not backwards. And, I mean, yeah, Hopkins would be a good fit for them, but they just got to move on. They got to bring in some new blood. It's time to move on. So, yeah, Hopkins' best choice is teaming with the quarterback that made him a dynamic receiver. So he should join the Cleveland Browns and reunite with Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson just recently told reporters he would love to have Hopkins back, but, and the thing is, it's not up to Deshaun Watson. He has to leave that to the powers that be, the general manager, and those people to work out the details. But Hopkins should be looking for a team that is ready to win a Super Bowl instead of a rebuilding team. And the Browns definitely could use a receiver like Hopkins. I mean, they do have Amari Cooper. Also, they have Marquise Goodwin. I believe they have, Marquise Goodwin. And so it makes sense for them to try to see if they can get somebody like a DeAndre Hopkins, because trust me, if they had Hopkins, he'd be number one automatically. I no disrespect to Amari Cooper, but DeAndre Hopkins is definitely more serviceable than Amari Cooper. So I definitely think they should look into it, and they need him to be there to at least become a Super Bowl contender. Then he definitely would make them a number one Super Bowl contender. That's all I'm saying.
All right, and on that note, First Lady, please take us to break.
Okay. Let me go to take us to break. Okay. Stay tuned. Up next, our favorite underwater friend on Flip It Part 2.
Dre, forgive us. Come on back to Houston. Hit it.
Welcome back. You are still listening to Bras, Panties, and Sports, Butt Kicking, where we look at all things in the world of combat sports. Will return after the NBA playoffs. Sorry. It's time for our favorite underwater friend. It's time for Flip It Part 2. If the Joker wins a NBA championship, then 2 out of the last 3 championships were won by the play of their big man. Is this a new era? Panel defense. Giannis and Nikolai provide the big men are back and dominating the game. Is it a new era? Spitface defend.
When I like the big men. I like the way the big men get in there and play and distribute the ball. And I would say the last big man that, was really like a dominating force might have been Yao Ming. And that's been a long time since you had and then actually before Yao Ming, you started looking at the Kareem days, and
oh no,
so that, I mean the big men have been dominating in the NBA in a little bit as the guy that scores and distributes the ball. And that's not like there haven't been some really good big men, at center. But, when you're looking at Giannis, well, whatever they want to say, power forward, center, whichever. But when you look at Giannis and Nikola, Giannis just showed that, hey, give me the ball, we win. And the Joker can score. He can rebound. He can hit the three. He can defend. And he can put up points inside, out. I mean it. Everybody in the NBA is going, hey, and these big guys, they have learned how to play in the new era. So, and all the other teams are trying to emulate. So, it's a new era for the big men. The return is here. That's what I'm saying, First Lady.
Okay, the return is here. Now, you went from Yao Ming to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You sure skipped a whole bunch of big men.
I said,
what
didn't
about
I say
Shaq?
Hakeem?
You say Shaq, Patrick Ewing, David Thompson, David Robinson.
Hakeem, they was all hanging out with Hakeem. Tim Duncan, Dwight Howard. I mean, there were some good big men there. I said oh my goodness. But anyway, it is a new era because teams with great big men are showing that big men can dominate like they did before. The three-point era, unfortunately had taken the big men out of the middle. But now you have big men that can play like guards. They can shoot three-shot points. The three, they can pass, and they can drive to the basket. Jokic is a triple threat. And B also could be a triple threat if he uses his skills to be more of a playmaker. And I think that's more of coaching. I think you need to find the right coach that really can unleash some of Embiid's skills, because he's a great passer too. And Giannis is learning to become a complete all-around offensive player that can score, shoot outside, and pass the ball. The problem with these teams know that their success is with the big men, not just playing small ball. Now, and the fact that the teams that have a great big man, they know how to use their big men to dominate and control the game. So this is the resurgence of the big men in the NBA, and we'll see if it's on full display, especially for the next generation, because we're gonna find out how big men will start to dominate again, because we got Victor Wembanyama who's coming into the league, and trust me, he is a big man, but he can do everything that a guard can do. You talk about Jokic. My goodness, Victor Wembanyama, I mean, he does everything Nikola Jokic can do, but he could actually do it more smoother and he doesn't look like Jokic. He's not slow like Jokic. He can move. So hail to the big men. All right, this is Flip It, Panel Defend. If Giannis, the Joker, and Embiid all have championship rings, there can be an argument made, but not right now. They're aberrations. It's always been a game about the big men. All right, Spitface, defend. Yeah, First Lady, as you were mentioning earlier, Shaq, Tim Duncan, Ewing, the game has always been about big men. It's just that that has been overshadowed by them sharpshooters. And you know who we talking about, the Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors brought in the sharpshooter mentality. And so teams started going with, hey, look, we got to put up a bunch of threes. We have to do, all these things that didn't involve the big man. Well, Giannis, the Joker, hitting threes. Embiid is not he has things in his game he can improve, and he could be right there. Right, he's just a team away, whether that's the team that he's on or the team he might end up being on, away from a championship ring. So it's not a new era. It's what it is an era where the big men are learning to play a different way. That's what I'm saying, First Lady.
Oh, okay. They're learning to play a different way, but okay. I mean, I look at this, regardless of what the pundits want you to believe, that the NBA is a league built on wing play and guard play. The last 5 years, the MVP of the league have been a big man. James Harden was the last guard to be an MVP in 2018. So it continues to be a big man game. If you have a dominating big man like Embiid, Jokic, and Giannis. It's just unfortunately teams have fallen in love with the free-flowing three-point shooting and no longer want to play the games in the trenches or the paint. They want to dominate with the three-point shots like the Boston Celtics, throwing up all them threes. It doesn't make sense. When you have a great big man, you need to use their height and strength to play to their advantages. I just think teams went away from using big men because there weren't that many exceptional big men being recruited either. So, it's been a long time since we really had big men, that were really, really outstanding. I mean, like I said, Victor Wembanyama is going to be that big man. But, I always feel, though, this has always been a big man league. And when you have exceptional skilled big men, you need to use them. And there's nothing new what's going on with Jokic, Giannis, and Embiid. I mean, I agree with you that they do play a different way. They don't play with their backs to the basket anymore. So they just play from the baseline, not the baseline, the Embiid plays up on top of the three-point line. That's where he scores most of his basket and then going downhill. But, when you got a big man, the league needs to use them, and I think it's always been a big man league. All right, Spitface, please take us to break.
On the other side of the break, we have another performance from Katie Belle on Shout Out Part 2. Please stay tuned.
Welcome back to Music Flows from Around the Globe to get a shout-out from the crew. Spitface, over to you.
All right. We have another performance from Katie Belle. And Katie Belle, I'm so thankful you sent more than one track. And that's a hint to you other folks. Because if you haven't got played, that's because you didn't send us a second track. And we had to add you in with somebody else. So cut it out. Don't be so cheap. Spend the extra 50 cents that they charge you and at least give us 2 songs. All right, we have another performance from Katie Belle. DJ, let's hear the title song from her new album, The Best You'll Ever Have. Hit it.
In your arms, I was yours, I was wrong, so in love. And I try to hang on closer to you. Hold my breath, count to 10, let it out, breathe it in. I'm not fine, and we're only getting older. But I didn't mean it when I heads will spin. All your lies, all your sins. If they knew, then your mother wouldn't love you the same. On my own, here again, getting back in my skin. I'm not yours, and I probably never was. I thought I didn't mean it when I told you I was leaving. I know. Had to see it to believe it. Now I guess we're finally even as you watch me go. You messed it up. I don't know what you were doing. Out of luck. Look at how you put me through it. Said I'm not enough. But the truth is I'm the best you ever have. It's pretty sad how you took my love for granted. It's too bad that this isn't how you planned it. Kind of glad, 'cause I know that you can't stand it. I'm the best you'll ever have. Look me in my eyes and say you couldn't have done more. Lying should be easy. You're not man enough to cut me off. Push me to my limits, so I go. You messed it up. I don't know what you were doing. Out of luck. Look at how you put me through it. Said I'm not enough. But the truth is I'm the best you'll ever have. It's pretty sad how you took my love for granted. It's too bad that this isn't how you planned it. Kind of glad, 'cause I know that you can't stand it. I'm the best you'll ever have.
All right, that was the best you'll ever have. First Lady, what's the verdict?
Okay, I'm going to definitely shout it out. That one was a little bit more of the pop style, but I did like it. Her music is well put together, like you said before, Spitface. The production of her music with the vocals and the music goes very well together, and she has her particular style. And I'm going to shout it out. She sounds very professional, very professional. Like she's been been doing it for a long time.
Well, I'm shouting it out, and her songs make me. And I know that this may not be quote the popular thing, but I love a good ballad where I can hear, really focus in on the voice of the artist. So and everything she did was great. It was on point. But just as it teased me to want to just really hear her voice and her just blow it on out, lay it on out there, Katie Belle. I know you can do it. I know you can do it. So I'm shouting it out. It looks like she got a double shout out this week. And it's been a minute since we've had to break out the mute button. And it can stay that way. We ain't complaining, but we know one of y'all gonna sneak it in where we got it muted. So we know it's gonna happen. That is the end of shout out. If you like what you heard from Katie Belle, check her out at Official Katie Belle, and that's Katie Belle, Belle, Akin, which is AKIN.com, and the Old Grumpy Radio Network. If you'd like to be heard or have any comments, please send your emails and tracks to talent@oldgrumpyradio.com. First Lady, over to you.
Well, it's time for the hardwood picks. All right, so we have some results to go over from our last week's show, May 29th, when it was music from Heidi Tan. Dizzy Mac led with 1 million points. Spitface, you had minus 1 million points, and I had minus 3 million points. Not too good. All right. Now, we also did picks for the first game of the finals. That was June 1st, and we didn't have a show, but that was the first game. Offline, we did the picks. Not a good showing for Spitface and Dizzy Mac. Dizzy Mac had minus 7 million points. Spitface, you had minus 5 million points, and I led with 7 million points. So where do we stand now? All right. Unfortunately, Dizzy Mac is, he's way behind, but I remember I think it was for football, Dizzy Mac was way behind, and he came back and beat us. Okay. He is minus 17.5 million points. Spitface, you went into the red, too. You're minus 3.15 million points, and I'm leading with 6.45 million points. All right. So let's get to this week's picks, and this is for Game 2, which is getting ready to start. All right. Game 2, it is plus or minus 5 million points. Celtics versus the Heat. Who's going to win Game 2? All right, I'll start it off.
That should be the Nuggets versus the Heat.
I mean, did I say Celtics? I apologize. The Nuggets.
I think they wrote it wrong.
You're right. I'm sorry. I usually pick that up, but it's the Nuggets versus the Heat. All right. Well, I got the Nuggets. I'm going with the Nuggets. They haven't lost yet at home. Dizzy Mac has the Heat. Who do you have, Spitface?
I'm going with them there Heat.
Okay, you guys sticking with the Heat. That's what got y'all into trouble before. That 5 million points. All right. So now we got the props. It's plus or minus 2 million points. Jimmy Butler, over, under, push, 30 points. I am going with under. Dizzy Mac has over. Spitface, what do you have?
I'm going with the over.
Okay. The Joker, over, under, push, 32 points. Dizzy Mac has under. Spitface, what do you have?
I'm going with the under.
All right. I'm going also with the under. The Joker with 12 assists. Over, under, push. That's 12 assists. Spitface, what do you have?
I'm going with the under.
All right. I'm going to go with the over. Dizzy Mac has the under. Jimmy Butler, over, under, push, 2 steals. I'm going to go with the push. I really go with the push, but I don't see him having more than 2 steals because they're not a team like that. The Nuggets don't make that many mistakes. So I'm going to do the push because Jimmy Butler is good defensive, especially when it comes to steals. Dizzy Mac has over. Spitface, what do you have?
I'm going with the push.
You're going with the push also. Jamal Murray, over, under, or a push for 20 points. Dizzy Mac has over. Spitface, what do you have?
Under.
Under. You got under 20 points for Jamal Murray? My goodness, that's an over. I'm going with the over. Okay. All right. Michael Porter. I don't know if it was Michael or Aaron. The producers had Aaron Porter, so I don't know if they meant Aaron. What's Aaron's last name? I forgot his last name right now. But anyway, I assume they mean Michael Porter. So Michael Porter, over, under, or push, 15 points. That was from last week. And I went with over because I thought Michael Porter was going to score. He took enough shots to be over 15 points. The question is he didn't make them. So I have a feeling he had a horrible shooting night. I'm going to go with over. Dizzy Mac has the under. Spitface, what do you have?
Over.
You got the over. Kevin Love, over, under, push, 8 points. Now, that's quite interesting because you remember Kevin Love didn't even get a sniff of the court. Is he going to play? Because I really thought Spoelstra should have played Kevin Love a little bit to at least match up against the Jokic a couple of times. But anyway, I'm going to go with under. Dizzy Mac has over. Spitface, what do you have?
I'm going with the over.
With the what?
With the over.
With the over. Oh, okay. I thought you said oven. With the over. All right. Max Strus. My goodness. Max Strus was what? 04. He had an offer. Over, under, push, 10 points. Spitface, what are you going with?
I'm going with the over.
Me too. I'm going to go with over. I don't think Max Strus is going to have another poor shooting night. So I'm going to go with the over. Dizzy Mac also has the over. So we shall see when we go over, get the results, and see how we do with our picks. All right, Spitface, what is your top story to watch this week?
What team will Mr. Hopkins land on? Because somebody about to get them a top receiver.
Okay.
Could it be Dallas?
No, Dallas didn't sign OBJ, so I don't see them signing Hopkins. I guess with OBJ, he was injured. I guess they didn't trust his physical or anything like that. I don't think they trusted his ability to come back from that. What, he had a torn ACL? I can't remember exactly what it was. Well, let me see. What is my top story to watch this week? Well, my top story to watch to see this whole week, whether or not the Nuggets will be up 0-3. Yeah, because they got tonight, and then next week they got actually they have 2 games, right? Yeah. So actually it could be 0-4. The series could be over next week. So that's what I think. I'm watching to see, will the series be over next week? That's what I'm watching to see. Anyway, please visit honorourveteranwomen.com. That's honorourveteranwomen.com. Check out our current and previous episodes at braspantiesandsports.com and our Facebook page BP and Sports. This is Cheryl Smith, the First Lady of Sports Talk and Spitface. You have been listening to Bras, Panties, and Sports. See you next week.